Welcome back to Bet Racing Nation here on Sports Tonight Live. This morning they had breakfast with the stars. Tonight we've got supper with the stars. And that is, the stars are Billy Blakeman and Tom Merritt. We've covered the Oaks, and if you missed the coverage of the Oaks, that will be on YouTube. We're going to focus now on the Derby. A horse that was 4 to 6 favourite is drifting slightly. All those layers would have been absolutely over the moon that they've taken that Australia, because it's bound to drift probably a little bit even more. Aidan O'Brien says, this is the horse, this is the best one I've ever trained. Is it the one you're going to be backing?
I think for me it's not about the winner, it's all about the price. You're right, Australia will drift. Bookies will try and get Australia, try and rope in people, get interest, and he will be bigger. And when he gets to about 6 to 4, I'd be interested, yes. There you go.
You'd be interested.
Yeah.
And that's quite unlike you, with short prices.
I don't normally know, no, but...
Do you think that the Derby lacks substance this year?
I think, well,
no.
Australia could be a different class, you don't think?
No. The substance, I think, is great substance, strength and depth in this year's Derby.
Do you really?
Yeah.
See, I don't.
Why?
I just don't think there's much quality there. I mean, you've got a 10 to 11 favourite for the Derby, and then you've got much of a muchness behind that. I mean, I do like horses like Fascinating Rock and other horses that we'll talk about in a moment. I think the one under the radar, well, it's not so much under the radar now, is Jeffrey Chaucer, because that's been backed. But what I'm saying is, 2 months ago, everyone was saying Australia. Even I was on the show going Australia. But I just wonder whether the race is strong in depth and whether Australia is a worthy favourite.
Well, what other 3-year-olds would we like to see in the Derby?
I'm comparing it to previous years.
So what, this
Do you
is
think
just
it's
a bad
better
crop
than-
of 3-year-olds?
I just don't think it's a particularly great Derby. I don't think the prestige of the Derby is what it was either.
Not
in
like it
previous
was
years.
on a Wednesday.
I like it.
I mean, you take it for Rule of the World won the Derby and it's still running. I mean, how many horses you go back would have kept running into to when they were 4 after winning the Derby?
Well, yeah, it doesn't happen that often. Ruler of the World is an anomaly, if anything, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, it'll probably happen more and more as time goes on.
Right, okay.
You're trying to get me out. Let's talk about Australia.
Well, I just think we've got to stop putting the Derby down. Let's get on with it.
Okay, let's get on with it.
We're live on Sky on Derby Day, Pete, and we're putting it down.
Absolutely. Okay, no, fine. The breeding, Son of Galileo and Ouija board for Australia is the best breeding you can have.
It's not.
Well,
I'll let Billy go on first, because then I've got the...
No. I mean, in a sense, you wonder if Australia's reputation is partly based on that. I mean, the horse is on a bit of a hiding to nothing because he is impeccably bred. He should be a superstar. We all know it's not that easy. If he wins his Derby by 10 lengths, it'll go down as a vintage Derby and it'll be a really, really quality horse. I take your point. If Australia doesn't win the Derby and they finish in a bit of a heap, it will go down probably as a poor Derby. Sorry, Tom, we're going negative again.
What I was going to say...
I don't mean from a prestige point of view. I don't mean from a betting point of view. Everyone likes to bet on the race and it will be a fantastic day. What I mean is, I'm not too sure that Australia is a worthy favourite based on what we've seen so far. It's based on hype. And we also know, if you look back on recent results, that the one that Ryan Moore tends to ride is the one that comes out on top in some of the big races.
Well, we'll talk about Ryan's influence over...
on.
Joseph's a little bit later,
yeah.
But we said the breeding, we said it's impeccable. I'll put something out there sort of, in context, if you like, for those that maybe don't know about the exact breeding. What you've got Ouija board Galileo. That's pretty much like Paula Radcliffe having a child with Mo Farah to produce the best 5,000 metre runner. I don't know if you like this comparison, right?
Yeah.
On paper, everything looks fine. However, what if the parents of those were Christina or Harugu and Usain Bolt? They would have been sprinters. Now, what Australia has is some very speedy pedigree back in its great, grandsire and great-grandsire, which may well be inherited on this side to suggest that it won't be the best mile-and-a-half horse. Just because you've seen Ouija board and Galileo cannot suggest it will be a Ouija board Galileo mix. There's a lot of speed going back older in its pedigree.
Do you know what? That is very well explained.
It was very well explained. I'm still trying to catch up with it, but yeah, it was.
No, very good. Jeffrey Chaucer. Now, I think they probably hold this horse in higher regard than what they're making out connections.
I like it.
I didn't think it run particularly well. I mean, Ebenorian and Fascinating Rock finished above. You know, people will argue that the horse didn't get the run of the race. I felt that, OK, it was impeded, but had enough time to come back. Where do we stand on Jeffrey Chaucer?
I think I sat here probably 3 weeks ago and said it was a good each way bet at 14s. I thought it, probably really should have won at Leopardstown, and he really didn't have a good race, got blocked in, and he was the one for me to take out of that race, and I thought he was a cracking each way bet, if you like, at 14s. Whether he's any value at 6 and 7s, I doubt it.
But when you look at the race, though, Fascinating Rock was the one that run on strongest at the end.
No, I just read it. I just read it that if he'd got a clean run, he might have won the race.
I thought that Jeffrey Chaucer was disappointing but unfortunate in the race, and I'm up for giving it another chance.
Now, talking about breeding, obviously this one's by Monjou.
Yeah.
They have a tendency not necessarily to be straightforward, but this
seems straightforward. Monjou and is it Machiavellian?
Could well be
on the dam side. Correct us.
But they can be quite,
if you will.
They can be quite temperamental.
Yeah, they can. I mean, if you said blindly, would you soon have a Galileo colt or a Monjou colt? You'd have a Galileo.
Yeah.
Because of that reason. So
but then it all depends who their grandparents are, according to Tom.
I was going to say, is Machiavellian
well, I mean, you must have done this, Pete. You've got to work out where you're going bald, haven't you?
Yes.
It's always skips a generation. Now, it's not saying anything about your grandparents.
I've started the generation. My kids are 15 and they're bald. Ebenorian and Fascinating Rock. I think this was quite an interesting race in Ireland, and that's why I'm focusing on this. Ebenorium, I'm not too sure will stay. Did impede, come off the rail, veered to the right, which in effect got disqualification for the results we reversed. Do we think that okay, let me ask this question to you. Jeffrey Chaucer, Ebenorium, Fascinating Rock, they run again. Who comes out on top out of the three of them?
Jeffrey Chaucer.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, look at the odds of it. Not just to look at the odds and suggest that is the fact, but Ebenorian's 20-1 in places.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Chaucer, I think, what we're looking at, I mean, with the likes of Australia obviously being so short, I think it's going to be around, 8s or something like that, isn't it, Jeffrey Chaucer?
Yeah.
There is still
it's been backed in, I think.
It's been back to 6s, has it? 6s.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of fancy for this horse in the yard, not just because, as I've said, what you've seen on the bloodline, but because you can disregard that last run in which I think a lot of punters, including myself, thought it was going to win. And Jeffrey Chaucer, I think, still a good bet for the Derby.
And also as
Ryan Moore as well, probably, will it? Second string?
Well, I mean, the rumours are Ryan Moore, but I did hear that it could be Shamey Heffernan.
I think Ryan's getting the choice.
Oh, I like Shamey.
Ryan can choose out of the rest, if you like. So obviously Joseph's going to ride Australia. Ryan gets second choice.
Yeah, I mean, the Racing Post have sort of said that it's more likely that Ryan Moore will ride Jeffrey Chaucer. We know that's a pretty good omen. We did have Roger Varian on the show. We talked about Kingston Hill. Kingston Hill in the 1,000 Guineas obviously didn't appreciate the sharp distance and run on a bit at the end. I think just finished in front of Walker Mine or just behind. I was quite keen on this horse. If there was juice in the ground, where do we stand on Kingston Hill?
Well, this is where I stand on Kingston Hill. I think that other horses would have handled Newmarket slightly better, the big galloping types, if you like, taking the mile. There's no doubt that things are in Kingston Hill's favour again for this Derby in terms of ground and trip. And again, the course, a bit of a quirky course. It won't have to be one of these big galloping types that got the better of the race at Newmarket. I'd rather be with Kingston Hill than against it, yeah.
I think it's got value each
I had
time.
it anti-post.
I think it is. If you look at the form lines, then the Racing Pace Trophy form line is the second best piece of form in here behind Australia's Guineas run. So, Kingston Hill has every chance just on the form book, and as Tom says, he'd probably be a nice kind of type for the race.
And that Racing Post Trophy race last year, when we first looked at it, when we first discussed that race earlier on, we did sort of indicate it wasn't the strongest of races, there wasn't many winners, but we've had the Great Gatsby win there, and I think there's another horse that's come out and won from that Racing Post Trophy. So the form now is starting to get a little bit better.
Yeah, and of course it's been nibbled into the likes of 10s or 12 to 1 after the breakfast with the stars, where they're all on show at the track. I can only imagine that Kingston Hill was looking tasty down there.
Up till the York run, another one that's ground dependent is True Story, who was seen as a major threat to Australia. Does that put a line, that York run, does that put a line through?
I think when he got interfered with, didn't he? The Great Gatsby sort of moved into him, and he looked a bit shaken by it, turned his head, and it did knock him back a little bit. When you watch the replay, it's probably not as bad now watching it back as it seemed at the time, in my view. But I'm not sure he's ever really run straight. All his races.
I did ask Jimmy Derham, the ex-jock that we have on the here on the show. I asked him last Saturday when we come in about True Story, because I felt that it really took True Story off his stride. I was quite disappointed in the way it ran, but purely because I felt it was really taken off his stride. Jimmy said no. He said he would have got up. No worries about it. If he had it in the locker, True Story would have got up. So I have to take that.
Maybe too soon to write the horse off, though. I mean, I think Workforce was beaten in the Dante and went on to win the Derby. So, again, we come back to ground, but are we ruling out True Story?
I just watched him, just not ever sure he really keeps that straight, and he doesn't want to be hanging right down the straight at Epsom.
And Godolphin hasn't certainly not got a record in the Derby to be proud of.
No, it's a shame, but I feel like Workforce. I think True Story is a Derby horse. He's got the Derby profile. But a lot of people will, of course, be put off because of the race before, and there's no reason not to be put off, to be honest with you. I'm in the middle with it. I think I might go each way if there's a big price.
What about A-Rod?
Oh, it's the Chapel Hyam.
Yeah.
Let me just reverse a few alphabetically.
He has won the Derby of Authorised, don't forget. And if you watch that race back, exactly the same race True Story was involved with, you could argue that A-Rod run on slightly better. But the Dam was a 6 furlong winner. Again, they might be suspect about the distance here for A-Rod.
I would have thought that the step up in trip will be more welcome to it, if anything. I'm unsure if Epsom will suit exactly because of the way that you saw it last time. The big galloping, again, it likes a long straight, big galloping type. That the tight left hand is exactly, it's like turning 180 degrees at Epsom. I really don't think A-Rod will appreciate that, but I will stay. I think going in the future, give Epsom a miss, but further middle distance races, group races down the line, keep an eye on A-Rod.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about the stamina for it, to be honest. I just worry about the form line, the Great Gatsby and that whole race. I just would worry. I wouldn't want to be lumping on any of those that came out of that, to be honest, just yet.
Another horse that we should mention is Western Hymn. Is that in your notepads, that going backwards?
No, I think that's been well overrated.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree totally.
I really don't think it's been overly eye-catching. Again, I'll say that Gosden has been talked up to have a good crop of 3-year-olds, but I really think Western Hymn has been overrated. Also one that you're going to have to keep an eye on the day. He can be very boisterous, play up quite a lot, almost like Dawn Approach did, so keep an eye on him in the day. He's likely to pull his head around or be kicking out a bit, being a bit of a lad in the ring. I don't want to see that, so not anti-post.
And that Sandown trial was 1 mile 2, if I'm right in saying. Yeah. So again, there might be some distance.
He didn't impress everyone with his head carriage in the finish. He did hold his head a bit high, which again is just a bit of a concern. If he is temperamental.
The form is good. The form is good. Beating Snow Sky, the form is solid. But the way he carries himself around, arguably the performances in the way you've seen the horse run haven't been as taking to back this one.
I mean, maybe we'll go for the French Derby, which is run over slightly less distance. That might be an option. Yeah. Very quickly, Snow Sky.
No.
Can't have it. No. One that I'm just a little bit thinking that Aidan O'Brien might stick in here is Adelaide. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's not a bad show, is it? Done all right over at Longchamp, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The other week, behind... I
think he won in Ireland.
No, it was.
It was expensive in France. Yeah, you're right.
And didn't run badly at all. It's quite a strong form, that race. Maybe the travelling over to France and that won't help its preparation, and the Derby might be a second thought.
Possibly so.
I wouldn't have thought it was good enough.
But it's not the first time an Aidan O'Brien horse that's an outsider. I think he even had a...
was one.
It was one, yeah, and didn't have 101 in the Oaks or the Derby a few years ago as well.
Did he? No, Treasure Beach.
No, it wasn't 101, but he definitely
66s came in third. Treasure Beach.
Thousand Guineas home something.
Well, he's had a few, hasn't he?
Yes. Yeah. We've got a minute to round this up then. Yeah. So from a Derby perspective, everyone getting their tickets. We're saying again, probably wait till nearer the time because we think that Australia. We certainly think that bookmakers will offer special offers to get people enticed in to bet in Australia. So if you've got 1 or 2 accounts and you want to open more accounts, I'd wait until Derby Day because I would imagine that will be their big pull this year with Australia. They've done it with Annie Power at Cheltenham, and they'll probably do it with Australia. Very quickly, then your selection.
Quickly, I'm going to go. I've already got Jeffrey Chowser each way. Go Kingston here each way. Australia nearer the time. Take advantage of one of the offers. Get a good price.
Yeah, I'd be with Jeffrey Chaucer again. Kingston each way, but one we haven't talked about observational. And we
probably haven't got much time more to talk about.
Observational.
I was not impressed with the way Jeffrey Chaucer ran last time, but I got a feeling that run. I think Kingston Hill will run well as well. We're going to be back after a short break. We're going to discuss jockeys. See you after this.